Hello guys and welcome back to Auto Craze. So we're back at Evo Customs and today we have a BMW F30 which has dropped on for a complete plug and play speaker upgrade. It's going to be very informative for most of the BMW owners. So without any delay, let's get started with the video. So guys, starting up with this particular BMW F30 has dropped down to Evo for the second time for the second stage of upgrade. When it came down for the first stage of upgrade, we got the Android infotainment screen upgraded. So this is an Evo Fit 4GB RAM, 64GB internal storage Android infotainment screen, which is a 10.25 inch screen which comes with wireless Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto, and it integrates completely well with all the OEM controls. So this particular screen is made for the 3 Series. Now if you want to know more information on this, do let me know down in the comment section and I'll try making a separate video on that. Along with the screen, two more upgrades were done, one being the headlight projectors. So the headlight projectors were being upgraded. So this is a bi-LED projector. Now since there's still good amount of daylight, the projector is still visible. So that's the low beam and that's the high beam. Now moving ahead, the third upgrade was the under-seat subwoofer. So people who own a BMW 3 Series F30 particularly will know that their car comes with factory-fitted under-seat subwoofers in the co-driver seat as well as the driver's seat. So those under-seat subwoofers were gone for a toss, so they were replaced with the Focal under-seat subwoofer which is made for the BMW. So Focal has a sub-brand called Focal Inside which is made for the BMW cars. So that particular under-seat subwoofers were installed under the co-driver as well as the driver's seat. Now the factory CD player is pretty decent, but still the Focal under-seat subwoofers could take in more juice, so we pumped it up or amplified it with a Zapco's ST4B 4-channel amplifier. The monoblock would have been an overkill, so just slight amount of extra juice. They perform great, and we Indians love good amount of bass, provided quality bass. So it was amplified with the help of a Zapco's ST4B. So these three upgrades were being done. Now considering the amount of kilometers done on this car, as you guys can see, it's 92,732 on the odor right now. The car has aged pretty bit, so when the door speakers were worn out, and now it was time for the door speakers to be upgraded, and that's when the customer dropped in, and now we had an option from the house of Morel. Now the components and the coaxials have already been installed. So this is where the 3-inch mid-base driver sits, and this is where the tweeter sits. I'll be opening up the door pad because we need to single layer damping. Now it's no regular damping, we'll be using a different material. It's not the regular aluminium material. Now the reason behind that will also be explained later in this video, so please stay tuned. And guys, this video is going to be very informative for most of the BMW owners, because I hear a lot of BMW owners complaining that their speaker is jarring or is worn out and they're not able to find a solution, because these are all 3-inch drivers. They are not the conventional 6.5-inch universal components which we get. So we have a solution for it right now. So here's where the 3.5-inch mid-base driver has been installed, and this is the tweeter. So we have angle mounted the tweeter, and the rear are coaxials. Nothing is visible as they are already been installed. The door pad is back into its place. So I'll be opening up the door pads. I'll be removing the speaker to show you guys a clear view of how the mid-base and the coaxial looks like. The tweeter is pretty much visible for you guys right here. So let's go ahead, open up the door pad, and I'll be giving you guys a clear view of the component as well as the coaxial. So guys, I've got the door pads open on the BMW 3 Series F30 in order to get the damping work started. Now this is how the mid-base driver of the Morel component set looks like, which is made for the BMW. So that's a 4-inch mid-base driver, and that's where the tweeter is mounted. Now that's an angle mount. Now this is the box in which this comes in. So this is the components box. So for the BMW, Morel calls it as the integration performance, so IP in short. IP BMW 42, which is a 4-inch mid-base driver and a tweeter. So it's a component set. So this is the boxing for the component set. It's priced at around 34,990 for this. And this is the coaxials box. So this is the IP BMW 4C, so coaxial. Now this is also two-way coaxial, so it's on the premium side. So this is priced at around 27,990, so 35,000, 28,000 as an overall figure. So that's how it is. Now this is the closer view of the mid-base driver. Let me just open up the door to show you guys a clear view. Now this is the mid-base driver. Now what I personally like from the house of Morel is how well they have designed in order to make the installation easy and to integrate it. So they give a basic foam layer. Now there's a closed foam cell out here, and you also get a frame. Now you also get two different frames in the box depending upon which car it is. For 3 Series, it's this particular frame. So that's simple because it's a universal model for most of the BMW cars, so different car comes with different frame. but as an overall the mid-range driver is in this size for all the cars, just the frame differs. So keeping that in mind, they give different frames. Now another thing is that they've used good OFC cables. Now this is a 16 gauge OFC cables, which is also an advantage. We get that in box, so not much of extra wiring is required. So basically there's no extra wiring required unless you want to get it amplified with the help of an external amplifier. And they give good socket connectors. So there's an inline crossover which is behind this. So this is the inline crossover, and you get socket to socket connection which passes to the tweeter. So I personally like the way Morel has designed this in order to make the installation easy, and it keeps more of an OEM connection feel. So it's socket to socket, and there isn't much of heat shrink or soldering which needs to be done. So it's socket to socket. In that way, kudos to Morel in order to design a good integration speaker drivers for BMW. Now moving to the rear, this is how the coaxials look like. Now you also get a silk down tweeter which is integrated, so you don't get a crossover as such for this since it's a coaxial driver, but for the rear it pretty much does the job, because most of them who own a 3 Series is usually driving in the front, or the driver or the co-driver. Very rarely BMW 3 Series are chauffeur driven. So in this particular case, it's the owner who drives the car, so we concentrated for a component in the front. If it's chauffeur driven, no worries, we can also go with a component in the rear, but we need to make a hole on the door pad in order to situate the tweeter, as this is how the tweeter comes in the box. So this is the overlook of the component and the coaxial, and this is the box which they come in. So let's head inside and I'll be showing you guys the damping process and why we require damping. So that's the main point, because after all it's a German car, and German cars are well built compared to any other cars. So in that way you have very good build quality, but we still require damping in this particular case. I'll be explaining that why. So let's move inside. So guys, this is the damping material which we'll be using in order to damp this particular car. So it is from the house of Bloppen, the door pad vibration arresters, the DPVA 2.0. Now this is how the damping material looks like. So let me just open up one to show you. So you get a foam material, so it's an acoustic foam material which is being used, a good high quality foam material. So we get 4 sheets in a box, which is adequate enough to cover 4 doors. I'll be showing you a live example of a door completed. So this is a co-driver's door on the BMW F30. So the damping has been completed on this. So this is the acoustic vibration resonator or arrestor claimed by Bloppen. So this is the material which we'll be using. So this is meant to be situated on the door pad. So this is usually considered to be the 3rd layer of damping in a pro damping case. So 2 layers will be done on the metal door and the 3rd layer will be done on the door pad. So this prevents from the plastics to rattle, touch. So if anything touches, it doesn't rattle much. So it takes care in that segment of vibration. In this case we have a German car, so the build quality on the door is pretty good enough. Due to the age of the car, the door pad has weakened out a bit. That's the reason we're going with this damping material, because post the installation of the component and coaxial from the house of Morel, we heard a bit of jarring on the door pads, and having such good car which comes into the premium category and having a bit of rattling is no good. So it's better to try eliminating as much as possible or reducing as much as possible. So we went ahead with this particular damping material. So we'll be fitting back all the 4 door pads onto the car, and then I'll be giving you guys a final audio output. So guys, the job has been completed. All the door pads are back into its place. As you guys can see, all the 4 door pads are back into its place, and the only thing which is visible is the tweeter. And this is the first time we had done a Morel component installation on a BMW. Earlier it was Focal, and surprisingly Morel has done an excellent job, because usually the OEM integration components won't be that great because it'll be running out of the factory player, and it won't be that powerful enough. But in this case, Morel has matched up with the voltage very well. I know what they have done, but they have done a very good job, and I personally like this component. And frankly speaking, it's bang for the buck component. So I am again stuck with NCS songs, so I'll be playing an NCS track which is slightly bass heavy in order to understand how good these 4-inch mid-bass drivers perform. Not sure how well the camera's microphone will capture, but any which ways, let's go ahead. So guys, that was a short audio output. Now I know how well you guys could make out through the camera microphone, but in person it was a very good setup for the price range which we are paying for a component. And yes, the component to coaxial comparison, there is good amount of difference. The components are way more clear and every tone is heard better in the component compared to that of coaxial. And the main advantage is the inline crossover and the separation of treble and mid bass. The treble is on axis, so in that way it's done a good job. But this might be a shortfall for certain customers on the 3 series, because on the 5 series you have a dedicated tweeter location, but on the 3 series you don't, so the tweeter will be visible. So that's one shortfall. It doesn't be a complete OEM look, but I personally like the look of an aftermarket tweeter. Being in this field, yes, the looks also does matter to us, so personally I liked it, but certain BMW customers might not like it. But in person it does look good. It doesn't look out of its place. It's just an angle mounted tweeter. So that's all for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys liked the video, please consider the like button. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. And if you have any queries or suggestions, do WhatsApp me or let me know down in the comment section. See you guys in the next video.